Hello everybody, and welcome back to Pravus Gaming and more Plague Inc. Evolved, with the custom scenarios, I should think. It's been a while since we picked this game up. Last time I played the game was for the Shadow Plague. If you guys missed that official scenario, it was recently added into the game. I figured out a tactic to beat it on Mega Brutal, and the video's done pretty well thus far, but, you know, we haven't done any custom scenarios in a little bit, and to be honest, I haven't really gone through looking for anything new to my subscribed list. In fact, it's really not changed at all. So, let's take a quick look-see at what is considered to be some of the most popular stuff. Corwin. I can't read that. Frostbite fungus. This looks a little bit like the frozen virus, which is already an official custom scenario thing. SCP-2376. You know what? Let's try this one. I'm not familiar with all the SCPs, but we'll give it a shot. SCP-2376 is a substrain of the tetanus bacteria carried by the common crow. Thought I said cow for a minute there. The anomalous effects of SCP-2376 will manifest 2 weeks after infection, which patients will be perceived as inanimate scarecrows. Oh, now that is interesting. Often resulting in the death of patients, as patients will be thrown away and abandoned. Aw, people don't like their scarecrows? Oh well, I made this scenario after asking around in the SCP Foundation. Shout out to Absent-Minded Nihilist for suggesting this. Okay, cool, let's give this one a shot. I mean, I like SCP stuff. You know, I've never talked about Markiplier, I think, on this series, but that's actually how I found that YouTuber, because I really liked watching him play SCP Containment Breach. I wonder whatever happened to that game. Is that even still a thing? Is it still in development, or is it kind of abandoned a couple years ago? I'm not too sure. We will be playing as a bacteria, and since I haven't played the game in a little while and I don't remember what everything does, we're not going to mess with it. I'm going to assume that I was smart, past me was smart, and left good genetic codes in there. Mega Brutal, heck no, this is a custom scenario. Believe it or not, when I've never done a scenario before, I don't just jump in on the hardest possible difficulty on a scenario that may or may not be balanced. A sample SCP-2376 is transported to Area 12 for research and experiment. Oh, and immediately broke out. A test tube containing shattered while on the way and infected a nearby crow. Or cow. I mean, either one. But where did it break? I don't know. Where's Area 12? I mean, there's only so many possible routes to get to it. We'll say that it started in India. I don't know why. Because... Alright, it's infected its first person this weekend and is used to hot temperatures. Let's see what we get for transmission. We start off with Crow 1. Common crows become susceptible to infection. So we get a little bit of land transmission and mutation right off the bat. Mutation off the bat could be good, could be bad. We'll see. There is rodent, very good in India. Livestock, good in rural areas. Air and water. Fairly standard stuff. Looks like somebody did go to the trouble of changing the descriptions ever so slightly to include the name, so someone put a little bit of thought into that one. For symptoms, we start off with vertigo. Dizziness followed by feelings that nearby objects are moving. Paralysis damages the motor neurons and causes paralysis in certain parts. Significantly harder to cure, can be lethal. Ooh, we do start with some lethality. That's a little scary. Fever also can be lethal. Pharyngitis. I've had acute pharyngitis before. This really does hurt when it gets severe. Sore throat causes discomfort and increases likelihood that coughing will spread the disease. 1 point, I'll just grab that right now, why not? Coughing. Well, you'd think that'd be a little bit tied into pharyngitis, since pharyngitis is kind of a, I don't know, a more severe... no, I guess this is fine. Whatever. Chance of infection goes up, high-density urban areas. We have seizures, we have aneurysm, particularly hard to diagnose. Vomiting, headache, and delirium. Reduction in cognitive function causes irrationality and paranoia, can be fatal, and significantly slows future research speed. Alright, so there's a lot of research speed reduction kind of things going on here between the aneurysm, the delirium, the paralysis. That could be pretty good for us. The early lethality, though, does make me very nervous, but we'll see how that works out. We have the Scarecrow strain. SCP-2376 causes subjects to perceive patients as scarecrows. Wait, I'm sorry. I thought the patients actually became scarecrows. You're just saying that you're just saying that other people are infected and start seeing each other as scarecrows. Maybe I don't know how this SCP works. Increases lethality as patients are likely to be thrown away. Vocalizations cannot be heard. Oh, you mean vocal, like vocalizations, like vocal cords. Ah, I don't think that L's supposed to be there. That's why I was confused. Okay, vocalizations of patients cannot be heard, so people can't be heard screaming for help. Got it. Mannequin strain. Oh, wait, oh my god! The new, like, mannequin challenge thing that's like sweeping the internets these days. How do we know that we're all not infected by SCP-2376? Dun-dun. A new deadlier strain of the SCP now exists. Patients can be perceived as mannequins by near-base subjects, unlocks more lethal symptoms, and increases lethality. Okay, so that's a gateway mechanism to a bunch of new symptoms. I like that. And then, of course, we have our cold, heat, and drug resistance. Fairly standard stuff. Let's try playing the game. So, what do we want to go for? Well, because we started off in India, which is pretty moist, going for water transmission is pretty strong, just starting out in India and going to Southeast Asia. And we do have a port, so I do think that water transmission makes some sense. I've all of a sudden got a little bit of hiccups there. Mass panic over the 3D printed robotic juicer. Because reasons. It's a reference to something. For some reason, I can't quite decide what. If I sound a little bit tired or a little off today, I apologize in advance about that. It is in no small part because I just found out that I'm going to be working overtime for the next 2 weeks, all the way up to Christmas. Ask me how happy I am about that. Moderately. Moderately happy, but also mostly displeased. Moderately happy because it'll increase my paycheck a little bit. It's a good chance to make a little bit of extra money and pay off all my Christmas gifts for the year, so hey, why not? UK votes for Brexit in referendum. Topical reference. This actually was recently added into the game, kind of like the Olympics switched from London to Rio. Well, recently the developers of the game added in the Brexit vote, which is a shocker for everybody. Voters in the UK vote to leave the EU. Remainers are concerned that this could severely damage the UK, but Leavers claim it will all be fine. Unclear when Brexit will actually happen. Actually, it's kind of true. We're not too sure how it's all going to work out. It's supposed to happen. They've said it's going to happen. How and when? We don't know. Alright, I'm going to go for a little bit of urban rodents because we are now getting into Europe. We did get into the UK. The sooner we can spread around through Europe, the better. Starting to pick up a bit of steam in India. I can see we are hitting critical mass pretty quickly. Do we want to go for rodent 2? That increases lethality slightly. It is a lot of infectivity, though, which is tempting. But instead, I'm going to go for a little bit more land transmission because that is quite strong. Let's also go for air 2. And then we have the extreme bioaerosol, fairly standard. Only 16 points, pretty darn effective. My goal ultimately is to get as much infectivity as quickly as possible because we did start with some lethality. Now, the thing about the early lethality means that we will be getting a lot of extra DNA in the very early stages of the game. That's pretty useful, don't get me wrong. Let's go for a little bit of cold resistance and some drug resistance. That is really, really useful, having that extra DNA. It just means that they're going to start working on this cure a lot faster, which, of course, just makes me nervous. Maybe we want to go for delirium. It says it can be fatal, but it looks like a teensy-weensy bit of fatality. So let's go ahead and grab delirium, just reduce the recharge speed. We also have paranoia, which is not lethal and makes people less likely to cooperate, which is good. Pulmonary fibrosis, don't want to go for that. That's too lethal. Aneurysm might be a little too lethal as well. We could go for some coughing. That's relatively cheap. That opens up sneezing and pneumonia. There we go. Pneumonia is what I like to see, because it makes people more vulnerable in the cold climates, which we all know is oh so very, very important. So let's go for a little bit of pneumonia. Alright, I don't want to go for too many more symptoms. The mutation's actually taking me a little bit further than I think I was expecting. Transmission, anything else I care about? We could go for a little bit of rural regions, and we will. It's only 7 points after all. And now we have a few different lethal options as well as increasing our transmission, which is tempting, but we're not going to do that right now. We could go for a bit of more drug resistance. We could go for the cold resistance. I'm going to go for the drug resistance to make sure that we can get through Europe a lot faster, since they will be doing most of the work for curing me. And let's also grab one more level of cold resistance, and let's grab a level of genetic hardening to slow things down. They're not making a lot of progress right now, but I'd like it to stay that way for as long as is possible. We could go for the mannequin strain. Now, this is a little bit lethal. Genetic reshuffle, we have 2 of the same thing. What happened there? Well, that is interesting now, isn't it? Reducing ability to work. Will that slow down the cure? It might, actually. But that stuff might just kind of develop on its own. I don't really want to get any more of those. We could get sneezing, and that's pretty darn infective, so yeah, let's go ahead and grab that. Yeah, we're gonna have to go for the mannequin strain very shortly. I kind of would have liked to have gotten into some of these other islands, though. The extra lethality does mean that they are far, far, far more likely to shut down their borders before I am ready. But there's not much more I can do to be more effective than I already am. Yeah. Not too sure what to do. I could go for some heat resistance, which seems useless, but it would unlock the environmental hardening, which makes us even more resistant in cold places. But to be honest, that's a lot of investment for a very small amount of gain. UK is now leading the global cure effort, so they're now working on this pretty hard. Let's go for the mannequin strain and see what we have unlocked. Apraxia. Bruised tissue can cause inability to execute certain movements, reduces infectiousness, but is extremely hard to cure. Okay. Aggression. Lethal. Hemoptysis? Coughing up blood, it's off of hemo, so, I don't know. Coughing up blood from inflamed bronchi increases infectivity and is fatal in extreme cases, and we have jaundice, which also can be lethal. So it looks like it really did just open up a whole bunch of lethality options, which, again, great, except I need to get into some islands. Now, I did just see a boat go to Iceland, which is great. Did we get into Greenland? We think we just did. Oh, holy crap, we just did. That was lucky. What else are we missing, then? Caribbean, Mexico, and Sweden. Mexico and Sweden don't worry me so much. Caribbean, little bit. Little tiny bit. All right, you know what? We will go for 1 level of heat resistance, just to be safe. And, let's go for the aneurysm. It's not very lethal, but slowing down the cure a little bit might be good. And you know what? Let's just grab headache for good measure. Now, everything else we mutate is going to be lethal, and I need to be pretty careful about that. But let's see what we can do. Please get into the Caribbean. Global research is now focused on a cure. I'm starting to run out of time. I need a boat to get into the Caribbean, like, now. It's the only islands left, and I don't want to increase lethality. Crap, please. Whoop. Don't miss that bubble. 15%. Come on, somebody send a boat to the Caribbean. Gosh dang it. Okay, people are shutting down their ports. I could be screwed now. This is what I was afraid of. And now, of course, we're starting to get things like schizophrenia. I think we are going to lose because of the Caribbean. Unless they've coded in Bird 2 to have an automatic spread to an uninfected nation. I kind of doubt it, but let's go for it. No, it did not. I was hoping that would be like a little hidden thing. Come on, can someone please send a boat to the Caribbean? Please? Please do it, please? They're not gonna do it. Why is the UK holding out as long as they are? I'm holding on to all these points, just waiting to pull the trigger on lethality, just in case. I mean, we're killing people plenty regardless. Send a boat. Send a boat! They're not gonna send a boat. Alright, we lose this one, guys, I think, and I think it was just straight up unluckiness that got me there. Alright, well, let's just see how fast we can kill people now. We'll go for schizophrenia, we will go for suicide, we will go for iron lung. Damages to motor neurons in the lungs causes inability to breathe. Well, that's horrifying. I like immune suppression. Total organ failure is quite good. Total brain death, why not? Let's go for a little bit of a coma, and that's all my points. But we have maximum lethality. People are going to die super duper fast now. Shockingly, they still haven't shut down their port. Why not? Now the Caribbean shut down theirs. So we lost because whenever you have a scenario that starts with an amount of lethality, you're always against the clock. There's always a chance that at least one island is going to hold out on you, and we got unlucky. But I think that I've demonstrated that at least we have a good idea how this works. Tremor. Damaged cerebellum causes uncontrolled, missing an L. Muscle tremors can be lethal. Well, that is pretty fun, I suppose. Alright, well, we lose. The SCP lost. But it's, I mean, yeah, who would have thought? Cuba was the one that held out on us. Cuba. Where do boats go from Cuba? I'm pretty sure they go to Eastern America. I'm watching right now, looking for any sign of where the Caribbean goes. I'm just seeing mostly America and Mexico. Am I right? Yeah, it's Mexico and America. Those are the two that I needed to send a boat to the Caribbean. And those two, unfortunately, shut down their ports pretty early on. Damn, I hate losing. Ah, well. It was a pretty good scenario, though. All in all, I thought that was pretty nice. There was a lot of unique descriptions and concepts behind it, which is pretty awesome. I will say that the SCP is a little bit less exciting than I thought it was, and that might just be a misinterpretation of the SCP to me. I thought it actually kind of turns you into scarecrow people, but it does not. It just makes other people perceive you as a scarecrow, and that's what's weird to me, is how does that work? I perceive you to be a scarecrow, a lifeless, inanimate object, so I throw you away. But you're not actually a scarecrow, so you start kicking and screaming, and somehow I don't notice. I'm just sort of, like, mindlessly holding on to you like, shh, scarecrow, it's okay. Throw you out in the trash. I miss you too. How does that work? I don't know, but I don't think that's the author's fault. I think that might just be the SCP that's a little bit weird. Still, I thought it was a pretty good scenario across the board. Not bad. I mean, I didn't finish it, so I'm not supposed to be able to like it, but I'm gonna rate it anyway. Not bad. Not bad, Xenomorph 666. Oh, you think you're so cool, don't you? All right. Thank you all for watching. I do hope you enjoyed. If so, then be sure to hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe for my future content. I'll try to get in a little bit more Plague Inc. in the future, just kind of here and there. I'm not sure I'm going to make it very regular from now on out, unless you guys have some particular scenarios you want me to try out. You know, let me know in the comment section what you think, and we'll see how that goes. I'll see you all then. Bye-bye.